Ho, 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 ho! It's Santa and Tiki here on the Fan Live for the next 4.5 hours here, taking your calls at 888-808-1019. Ho, ho, ho! Santa's delivered the Giants, currently the number 1 overall pick. Santa has delivered a very disgruntled wide receiver to the Jets. Ho, ho, ho! Santa's delivered Sean Mania back to the Mets. And Santa has delivered a first baseman to the Yankees. All of that and more. Tiki, welcome back from Vegas.
I don't even know what to say.
Ho, ho, ho.
I mean, I guess I could say ho, 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 ho. But there's nothing jolly about this weekend, at least not from a football standpoint.
Oh, I'm jolly. I am jolly.
You're jolly because the game I called, the Las Vegas Raiders hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars, what might have been one of the worst games I've ever experienced. Just from a functioning execution. There was a point where the Jags had the Jags had 2 straight penalties to put them in like 3rd and 16. And then the Raiders had 2 straight penalties to make it back to 3rd and 6. And then they dropped the pass on 3rd and 6. It was just like, what are we watching?
Well, what we were watching was a lot of Giant fans were watching was just something unfold that right now the Giants find themselves in a position they have not been in since 1965, and that is holding the number 1 overall pick in the draft. This, of course, after the Giants are bloodied and bludgeoned down in Atlanta with the Falcons. So we're going to cover both teams here in the open, take your calls and thoughts on all, but let's start with the Giants. Look, the good news is, right, you called the game with the Raiders and the Jags, Tiki. The Giants do right now if control their own destiny, get the number 1 overall pick. Right, great, fine.
Doesn't make me feel any better.
Here's the problem, the path to get there yesterday. We have talked about this endlessly on this show about how hard it is to thread the needle between trying to get high enough to take a quarterback while keeping a regime and everything happy. And this isn't about whether you want Dable or Shane fired. Everybody's fought enough about that. But 34-7 versus the Atlanta Falcons, and 34-7 because you start a quarterback after Tommy DeVito is cleared that throws not 1 but 2 pick sixes, albeit Evan Neal's terrible at cut blocks, and that causes one of them. And then another fumble, which was horrendous. You cannot tell me, Tiki, after what we've now seen with a half of Tim Boyle, what we've seen with a couple starts with DeVito, and now what we've seen between the Dallas Thanksgiving start with the pick 6 to Overshown, the 2 pick sixes yesterday, how this team and this coach thinks Drew Lock gives this team the best chance to win a football game?
Right.
BS.
All I could do is laugh at it because I've gotten to the point where I don't trust that decisions are being made in the interest of winning. And I'm not saying they're tanking. I'm not saying any of that. But I told you guys months ago who Drew Lock was.
Oh, yeah.
Not that he's a bad dude or he's even a horrible quarterback, but there are moments where he is going to make bad and terrible and game-changing decisions. I've seen it since he was a rookie.
Yeah.
I saw it last year in his little stint in Seattle when he was filling in for Geno Smith. He is consistently going to do what he did yesterday. And so as I'm watching this game, because we had the late game, so I got to watch the Giants, unfortunately, with a rookie quarterback on the other side, play not even good, and still find a way to beat the crap out of the Giants. I found myself saying, forget giving you the best chance to win. Playing Drew Lock almost ensures that you're going to lose because he's going to do this constantly. And I'm saying he could be a good backup. Maybe come in and win a game like he did in Seattle a year ago. But he's not the guy who you want to put into a situation to try to win a football game. I would rather, be honest with you, after calling Tim Boyle, have seen Tim Boyle on the field, especially after I saw that first pick 6. And then the second one, maybe not fully his fault, but still, it's another pick 6. We know who Drew Lock is. So how the heck can you keep running about there? I mean, it got to the point where, I was just drawing up conspiracy theories in my mind. I'm like, they can't honestly think that Drew Lock gives them the best chance to win. So what's the conspiracy theory? If I was going to throw a conspiracy theory out there, you know what I said? Dave's is getting all the heat. I bet Dave's is playing Drew Lock just so he can get Joe Shane on the hot seat with him for paying that guy $5 million a year and basically having to play him. It just made me start to get frustrated and pissed off that he was the backup quarterback that you have to play. He is not a good quarterback. He's a good dude. He is not a good quarterback.
That is an interesting conspiracy theory, and ironically, I'm going to turn this to the game you called. The Raiders win this game yesterday with Antonio Pierce.
Because Antonio Pierce doesn't care about anything else other than winning.
This is what I'm going to say. After the game, did you hear what Antonio Pierce said after the game?
Hey, what do you think this does to your first-round draft picks? I don't know. Ask the GM.
Right. Talk to Tom Telesco about that.
Right.
That tells me Antonio Pierce doesn't like whatever crap sandwich he's been served with the Raider roster. He's going to coach these guys to try to win the game.
Right.
Whatever is going on with the Giants, we are to believe that this regime of Dable and Shane were on a united front. So either one of two things is true. Either Brian Dable is putting on a good poker face when he's screaming at everybody on the sideline, and he's in lockstep with Joe Shane, and he knows losing these games by playing Drew Lock gets them to that end result of getting the quarterback, or this is starting to be a little bit of a fracture with the regime where you see stories come out. Paul Schwartz floats that story, and I get it was an opinion piece.
Right.
Hey, the Giants may keep Joe Shane and get rid of Brian Dable. Brian Dable's obviously alerted to all of that. Who served him Drew Lock? Who gave him Drew Lock as a backup when they knew that at some point this year they were probably sitting Daniel Jones with this injury guarantee. They had to know. And the idea that he ran Drew Lock out there to throw those 2 pick sixes, and by the way, at any point, did it occur to Brian Dable to bench Drew Lock yesterday after the second one? He never even attempted to bench him.
No, I didn't even think about it.
So either they are in lockstep that, you know what, we're okay, we've really been guaranteed our jobs, or you're starting to see a fracture between GM and coach about saving themselves.
Well, the problem for me watching this is that it's not competitive.
No.
Like, watching uncompetitive football is not fun, and it's not encouraging. It doesn't make me feel good despite my desire to see Dabes get another year here and try to figure this thing out. It's just, I can't watch a team get blown out in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. No. Right? There's a reason. I mean, every now and then you'll get these stupid spreads where it's like, that team is favored. What Tommy DeVito last week, 16.5 points. Most NFL games are one-score games.
Right.
Or on the verge of being one-score games. So maybe it becomes a 10-point game or a 9-point game, or heck, maybe even it goes to 12. But to consistently get blown out and be non-competitive, especially after taking an early lead.
Yeah.
Right? You get the lead. And to me, it screams of ineptitude.
Yeah,
and I don't want to believe that that's the case.
No. And look, do I think if they had a different quarterback situation, things would have been? Sure. But they also are in a spot where they created the quarterback situation. They could have done a better job at finding a backup plan for the situation they had with Daniel Jones and Drew Lock. I would say this. Everybody complains about the 2 drafts with Joe Shane, and I found ways to defend him because I like it. I think this is the most egregious of them all because of the situation you knew you were putting yourself in with Daniel Jones.
Meaning who you picked as your backup quarterback.
Yes, and it doesn't mean backup quarterbacks are backup quarterbacks for a reason.
Yeah.
This is atrocious. And you see every year in the NFL, every week. Hell, the Browns competed at times yesterday with Dorian Robinson. It's the third quarterback.
And he's terrible.
Yeah, and it's the third quarterback of the year. How they could run Drew Lock out there after what they've seen.
Don't know.
Unbelievable. And now Drew Lock's getting an MRI magically, right?
Didn't I say this last week?
Yeah. They're just trading off injuries.
Did I not say this last week? Go find the tape. You can look at it on our podcast on Friday. And it's just humorous to me how Drew Lock starts, or Tommy DeVito starts. He gets an injury. And then the next game it's Drew Lock because Tommy's hurt. And then Drew Lock gets hurt, so Tommy's back in. And then Tommy gets hurt, and so Drew Lock's back in.
It's unbelievable.
And after this game, Drew Lock's getting MRIs. So it's like, just tell us that you don't care who's starting at quarterback and you just want to see both of them and you're going to play them each and every week, every other week. Who cares, right? The season is lost. We're just trying to evaluate. Tell us the truth about this stuff, because the truth is you can't believe Drew Lock gives you a better chance of winning than any other quarterback on that roster. I mean, I've got to tell you, Tim Boyle looked better than Drew Lock looked.
He did. Yeah, and this is now, we've done enough of Drew Lock with the pick six. It's terrible. It's just terrible, incompetent football. And yesterday, Tiki, there's a moment in the game where the owner, John Mara, is shown in the box, and he immediately sees that he's being shown, and he basically turns around and discusses, like, why are they showing me? You know what? All of you people that have spent money on planes and everything, that's a moment yesterday that hits closer than a plane flying because you're tired of basically being the butt of the joke on TV.
Right.
So, look, we keep doing this, meter of, do we think Dabes and Shane stay? Do we think Dabes and Shane stay? I think yesterday, above anything else in this season, actually was the worst moment for them because you were facing the first, a rookie quarterback first start. He didn't even play well. You started a guy who had no business starting, throw 2 pick sixes. To be uncompetitive versus a Falcon team that basically dragged ass to beat the Raiders a week before is just inexcusable.
It is inexcusable. And I see the alternatives. So I was looking, Jason and I, McCourty, my booth mate, up in with CBS, we were looking at the number of bad teams in the NFL.
A lot.
And you don't even think about it until you think about it.
9 teams with 4 wins or less.
Yes, 9 teams.
Mm-hmm. Like third in the league.
What are we talking about? Right? There's 3-win teams. There's what? 4 3-win teams?
Right.
4 3-win teams, 3 4-win teams, 1 2-win team with the Giants. How are so many teams this bad? And the thing we came up with is, God, it's coaching and quarterbacks.
Yes, that's it. The 2 most important parts of the whole situation.
It's coaching and quarterbacks. And you look at the teams that have been bad, they have either young quarterbacks or inexperienced head coaches. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's not competitive football.
It's terrible.
It frustrates me. I don't even know how to respond to it because I'm sick of seeing it every single week and having to try to defend the idea that this regime knows what they're doing. Because I watch what Antonio Pierce, he's got an inferior team. He's got 3 of his top defenders are on IR this season. They've had 5 quarterbacks in 2 years, and none of them are good. Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ridder. Hell, Brian Hoyer started for them a year ago. None of them have been good. Yet they are in every game.
Yeah, they were way more in the game versus Atlanta than the Giants
They are in every single game. And so they're playing hard. If they're coaching well, even if they're coaching poorly, I can't watch this Giants team and have any emotion other than what the hell. Yeah. You can't get blown out 5 times in a season.
Tiki, my dad, who I watch every game with, it's the thing we have. It's the special bond we have. It's Giants football. It's linear. It's family-wise. I never thought I'd see the day where yesterday I'm watching a game with him. The pick 6 happened. And my dad did something I didn't even do. He jumped out of his couch and he fist pumped. And that's my dad. And my dad is like the old school, you do not lose games. And then he cheered louder when I had the Raider game on for him later on. They have beaten down the old portion of the Giants. That is hard to do.
Yeah.
The Giants are family to people.
Right.
Like that is lineage. And the old school, prideful Giant fan now has gotten beaten down to the point where they're doing the unthinkable.
Yeah.
Like that is how bad it's gotten. It takes a special kind of regime to do that. So look. I'm not going to plant the flag and tell you I want these guys fired still.
I don't either, because I like Daves, and I think he's a good coach.
But I'm done fighting with those who do.
You're right.
That's it.
If that's going to be your opinion, right. I'm not pushing back on it.
I can't push back on it. I question whether they're going to get a better head coach in here than that. But nonetheless, the day ends with the Giants in control of the number 1 overall pick, which if you're going to sit through this garbage and you want to argue about trading away, drafting, we could do all that throughout the show. But if you're going to sit through this garbage, you might as well have that top pick.
True, but then you're in a position to take the right one.
I agree. But
you're
you know
almost
what?
better being at the number 2 spot.
The number 2 pick and make somebody else make the pick for
just
you.
Let someone else make the decision for you.
You may not be wrong, but as you said, look what the Raiders did yesterday. They won and they trickled down to the 5th pick because of all of this. Now, real quickly, before we get to your calls, just to touch on the Jets a little bit yesterday. My personal belief, and I'm going to play some Garrett Wilson sound in a little bit when we come back. First of all, Jeff Holbrook is just the worst interim coach I've ever seen some of the decision-making. But truthfully,
I feel bad for him.
On a frigid day, for any Jet fan that made the trip out to MetLife Stadium, first of all, bless you, sitting out there. Tell me I'm crazy for one dome's terrible. I just looked at this game and watched, and I went through it again this morning. The idea that any of you guys want Aaron Rodgers back, bless your heart, I think you're insane.
He was good for a quarter.
Look, being good for a quarter is one thing, all right? What Aaron Rodgers, I thought, attempted to do yesterday was call his friend Davante Adams in the morning and say, like we would go, pick up with your friends, go play on the street.
Yep.
Hey, it's the end of the year, let's go have some fun. I thought Aaron Rodgers thumbed his nose at the entire team for the idea of, you know what? Me and Davante Adams are going to have fun today. Garrett Wilson be damned. The tight end room be damned. And I'm on a quest to throw my 500 touchdown. I want Davante Adams to catch it. I look at that 4th and 4. To go for it on 4th and 4 when you're up 9-6 and your defense is playing like that. Go for it on 4th and 4. Your play is a fade to Davante Adams. I refuse to believe that that was an offensive play called in by a coach that looked like Aaron Rodgers trying to make something happen.
Right.
And if you go to that fumble that really changed the game that Verse picks up yesterday, Aaron Rodgers doesn't look off Davante Adams, holds onto the ball too long, praying Adams gets open, doesn't even attempt to find another receiver. I hate using the word pig, but I will here. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams were selfish pigs with each other yesterday, and I don't blame Garrett Wilson for being pissed off.
He should be. I mean, Garrett Wilson is the best receiver on that team right now.
Of course he is.
I know Davante Adams has a history. Who knows, where his career goes, but there's a point, maybe at some point, if he plays well for the next couple of years, he's a Hall of Fame, or at least in the Hall of Fame conversation. He's that good. But sometimes you got to be prescribed to what the play is.
Right.
It's not play backyard football. I think certain guys can get away with that. Aaron used to be able to get away with that. Aaron Rodgers did. He can't get away with it anymore. And what happens because he's trying to be Pat Mahomes, backyard football. I know I can make it happen because I'm great and I'm a Hall of Famer. And he is. But he's lost a little bit of something here.
Yeah, to me, that looked like a total audition that Aaron Rodgers said to Davante Adams, I would like to keep playing with you. Let's audition as a team. Like in Step Brothers, when the two brothers go try out for jobs as a team, it felt like a group audition for anybody that wants Aaron Rodgers next year to bring Davante Adams with him. And I know that Evan has felt this way, and Joe, if we have him on at 4 o'clock, will feel this way, right? They want to see Aaron Rodgers play with the Jets. I can understand that. However, remember, you're definitely getting a new head coach. And I understand the idea of letting the new head coach decide. To me, I need to rid myself of Aaron Rodgers just because if that's the kind of play he's going to have and decision-making he's going to have, that does you no good in trying to build your culture and what you're trying to accomplish as a new head coach.
It doesn't feel like he can stay inside the box anymore.
No.
He wants out of it.
He wants out of it, clearly. And that's what yesterday was one giant audition for Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Joe Beningo will join us at 4 o'clock. We're going to take your calls, 888-808-1019. We will, of course, touch on the baseball. Sean Manaea comes back to the New York Mets. The Yankees land Paul Goldschmidt over the weekend. We'll get to that throughout the show. We're going to have a lot of Christmas and holiday fun throughout.
Got one more for you.
What do you got?
The Devils are kicking the Rangers' ass.
All right, we were trying not to mention that. Chris Kreider, a healthy scratch, but the Rangers suck.
Say it louder, Tiki.
The Devils are kicking the Rangers' ass.
We're getting off script here. Santa wants to bring the Rangers a good holiday mood here. It is Santa and Tiki, and we're coming to you live from the Town Fair Tire Studios.